Hey guys, it's Jessica here, and today I am back with another food or eating vlog. We're gonna be eating Filipino food. It's gonna be a very special experience because I'm not going to be alone, and also the food that I'm going to be having today is going to be a little more special than the usual Filipino food that you guys all know of. Now I'm going to introduce the guest of the day, and he is one of my role models here in the Philippines in terms of like content creation. So let me introduce Erwan.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course.
Hello.
And actually, the restaurant that we are about to go to right now is
HAPAG.
You're the one who kind of recommended this restaurant, right?
Yes, because there's a small, kind of very talented group of young chefs that are really challenging what Filipino food is, but really staying true to the authentic flavors of Filipino cuisine.
Right.
So if people get to experience this, I think it just makes you proud of your roots and the food that we love to eat.
Right. This place is in the middle of like the streets of QC, so it's pretty noisy here, so we're gonna go in now.
Go inside. Excited to eat?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I've never been into a Filipino restaurant like this in my life.
It's very pretty.
Yeah.
Lots of Filipino elements, but very clean.
They have like a whole like course meal. The reason why I fell in love with the Philippines in the very beginning, it was the food. I think as a Korean kid, I had a Korean palate, right? Kimchi every day. I need to have rice in the morning.
Really?
Korean eat rice in the morning.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
One of the things I noticed was when you have rice and like the ulam, you put really little portion of the ulam and with a lot of rice. Do you know that trait?
Yeah, well, yeah, 'cause usually it depends on how the food's seasoned, right?
Yeah.
The saltier something is, the more you need something to neutralize it. And something like white rice really neutralizes that saltiness or that sauce, which is why you usually see plates with copious amounts of rice and tiny amounts.
Yes.
So one of the reasons why we started the Fat Kid Inside and then why we transitioned to feature was we wanted to give a voice to Filipino food. For the longest time, I would get in trouble because I'm half Filipino, half French, and people would be like, but why is this guy the one who's telling us about Filipino food? And,
Oh, really?
And I always said to people, I'm not an expert. I'm just a very curious student. Because we have so many islands, because of our geographical positioning, because of the years and years of colonization from various different countries that have influenced us, and not only talking about the US and Spain, but also talking about the British that were here for a while, some Indian populations that moved in, the Malay, the Indonesians in the south, the Chinese, which are massive trade partner. Mexico at one point was a trade partner. And you find all these little speckles of influence throughout our food. And the food that you're talking about and the food that most people know about is Tagalog food. That's the food that's kind of centered around Metro Manila and center Luzon. Adobo, sinigang, things that are absolutely everywhere. But once you start digging a little bit more, going to Bacolod, going to Zamboanga, the food becomes so diverse and so confusing. So that's why for us it was very important to focus on that kind of content, to be able to not only teach ourselves, but to teach everyone else in terms of the beauty and the diversity of the country and getting people really proud about it. When people say, hey, can you just try to concise what Filipino food is? For me, the one thing that I have a hard time attributing to other cultures is the sourness. And I feel like the sourness in our food is a very Filipino thing. Before anyone else was here, I feel like sour was a primary flavor because of the role it plays. So the role it plays in terms of fermentation, the role it plays in terms of preservation, pickling, and all these things. So that's why a lot of our food is sour, because we didn't necessarily have refrigeration.
That's very interesting. And I think this restaurant also has some alcohol, right? Yeah, so we'll see if we can try that, and let's probably begin with our fancy Filipino meal.
I'm excited.
Yep. Wow, everything's local too.
Yes, so Kalinga is a province north. Very expensive, very hard for it to be shipped down to Manila. So that's why you see a lot of white rice in the Philippines. But our original rices, black, red, all these different variants, all from the north.
Wow, that's interesting to know because I thought like white rice was like the rice.
Before white rice, we were all eating brown rice. And then now, it's funny, brown rice and black rice are actually more expensive.
More premium, I know.
I have you, please. But importantly, it tastes like chicken in a salad. The flavor is there, right? It's just a different technique, a different way of putting it together.
Oh my god, it does!
But the flavor is there.
You just feel like you just had like a bite of inasal.
Right. Have you tried champorado before?
Yes, I did. Actually, that's also one of my most culture shocking Filipino foods.
Really?
Chocolate porridge with salty fish.
That's good though.
This stuff tastes like very authentic chocolate.
Yeah. I want a box of this right now.
Really?
Seriously. Soy caramel. It's like a soy sauce caramel conchita. So the texture is completely like conchita, but
Tastes like yema. Very flavorful, very rich. Aside from Korean and Filipino, which is more like my home food. So my favorites are Southeast Asian cuisine mostly. So Vietnamese, Thai. A lot of people around the world love those cuisine too, right? And it's very iconic. Like when you think of Southeast Asian cuisine, either Thai, Vietnamese, Indonesian. But why do you think that the Filipino food, it has so much beauty in it, and why do you think it wasn't able to, go global?
it's a question I get asked a lot actually, and it's if you look at Asian food in general, Thai, Vietnam, Korea, China, I think it's mostly because there's a misrepresentation of Filipino food is. Yeah, it was always presented in a way that other Filipinos are used to it, but I think for cuisine to really kind of penetrate internationally, you need places like this in various countries to showcase the potential and opportunity.
Yes.
It's not about making the experience more high-end or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just serving food properly.
Right, yeah.
If you have that, then hopefully more and more people will find out about it.
Yeah.
Grilled water, consomme, medicinal herbs, which is cool. You don't see a lot of herbs in Philippines.
Yeah, that's why, yeah.
But these are all local herbs.
Wow, I didn't even know like these kind of things grow here all together, right? Very fresh. If there was like 3 Filipino dishes that you have to introduce that represents the Philippines, what would it be?
Very good question.
I have 3 in mind.
Really?
As a Korean living here for a while.
Sisig, sinigang, with batuan. You know batuan?
Nope.
It's the souring agent from Negros. So different regions in the Philippines have different souring agents. In Negros, it's batuan. And it's probably my favorite. So sinigang made with batuan without the premix powders.
Flashback.
I think people will love that, and it's very unique. Your one is tough, but I think I would say kare-kare, just because I love peanutty. Oh, you can't eat it because you're allergic, but I love stews.
Yeah, well for me, okay, maybe one is not considered as like a dish. Budol fight has to be there, so it has to be on grill. Have you ever tried budol fight?
Yeah, for
yeah. Like with your hands?
Tons, yeah.
Oh, okay. Not many people are used to eating with hands, right? For me, when I first came here and started seeing people eat with hands, and
Shocked you a little
yeah,
bit.
it shocked me, but it was a positive shock because it looked so fun. And then second is lechon.
Yeah.
For me, more than the food, I look at, I guess, the whole like vibe of it.
Experience.
Yeah. Third, sinigang.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. Yukwe, we call it yukwe.
Yum. I thought it was dried mango at first. Potato chip. Napoleones is a really popular pastry in around Negros. Very creamy.
Yeah, very like sweet
Nice and
also.
sweet with the scallops.
Luz
Mindanao
Minda, yeah.
crab ala.
This one is like, it reminds me of some Indian.
Yeah, it's almost curry like
Yeah, curry,
lasagna.
You like it? Sam.
Very fresh, raw, using herbs
Yeah,
on
right?
traditional dishes.
Again, one of the reasons why I was able to adapt Filipino food culture easily is not just because of the flavor, but because of how we see the gesture of eating a meal together. In Korea, when you greet someone, the first thing you say instead of how are you is, have you eaten? And I noticed the same thing here. And no matter how wealthy or poor the household is, when I visit them, they want to serve me with food all the time.
I think it's a very Asian trait, to be honest. It's something you do see also in Thailand.
Yeah.
And stuff where they're very generous with the food. And here, I think it's just because Filipinos are just very hospitable.
What's more, everyday way of eating food here is like the buffet style.
Correct.
You scoop your own rice and yeah, the dishes, right? Which is the biggest difference with Korea, where even if it's a stew, you have it in the middle, and everyone dig in with their used spoon. And there's a gesture of making some with your hand. You can even give it to your loved ones or friends, right? So it's pretty intimate,
You can
in
feed
Korea.
some to people like that?
Yeah, that's
Really?
a sweet thing. Yeah.
I've never seen it.
Philippines or maybe foreigners would find it really.
Yeah, like, whoa, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
yeah, I know. Yeah.
Especially with COVID, it's like, keep your hand
Yeah,
on
I know, yeah. Wow, I did not expect this to be arroz caldo.
Yummy. It's still really comforting.
This one really tastes like Korean food.
Really?
But it still does taste like arroz caldo.
Yeah.
I get, yeah.
I didn't know you could eat caballero flowers.
Probably the strawberries are from Baguio, right?
Could be. Yum.
I can't believe this is not even the main dish. We haven't even started main.
This is
So-
to get you ready for the
Yeah.
main course. This looks so good. Would you like some rice?
Yes.
It's good.
Thank you.
So this rice has pandan flavor. Okay, where do you want to start?
Probably this.
Pork belly?
Yeah.
That's pretty insane.
Mm.
So all the flavors you like from barbecue are all there.
Very tender.
So this is actually a really common vegetable. Ako, one of my favorite. It's actually very hard to get.
So refreshing.
You get the chicken. So this is, I guess, a boneless chicken wing.
Boneless chicken wings.
Inasal style, so there's a lot of lemongrass on it.
I can see the chicken oil. I love
You
chicken,
love chicken
oil.
oil? The best thing ever.
The best thing ever. My dad, one time, he loved inasal so much. He brought it to Korea.
He wrapped it?
He wrapped
Really?
it in aluminum foil. Brought it to Korea, and once we arrived, the first thing we did was eat inasal. So yeah, now that I discovered this restaurant, I will definitely bring like my Korean friends
sure.
here, just so they know that Filipino cuisine is actually diverse.
And I think people need to be okay with the idea of experimenting with Filipino flavors and food. And like obviously you look at something like the chicken inasal cracker, some people will be like, oh, it's not inasal. So I always tell people, get over the labels or just general descriptions and guides and be open enough to just try new things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so now time for
Panapos.
panapos.
I feel like you kept the perfect amount of space.
Why are you?
I'm a little on the verge of being full. I feel like this is the tameness and then
Yeah.
intensity. It's really good though. I love cracker. But it's tasty.
It is tasty.
Very
Yeah.
tasty.
I think it's a type of dessert like even Korean grandmas like old.
Would like that.
Yeah, would like yeah.
This is buko pie. So she mentioned it was a mix of buko and makapuno.
I thought makapuno was like the flesh of coconut. No.
It's a different type of coconut. But makapuno in general is when the sport is actually rotten.
Is it nyog?
No.
Wow, so good. She said this was choconut, right? Does it have peanut in it?
There it is. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yes. Good call. I was about to say taste it. It's so good.
Yeah.
And then
I'm allergic to
She's
peanut.
a peanut allergy.
Wow, that was
That was a good meal.
yeah, really good meal. What was your favorite out of them all?
I love the snack box in the beginning. And then the mains are really good.
Yeah, the main were really good
The
too.
pork is so tender. And the fish, I mean, we didn't talk about it much, but I finished the fish.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, my favorite was it's so hard to choose, but the most shocking thing, I think it has to be the chicken inasal crackers. And it does taste like chicken inasal. Like I didn't expect that coming, but I think it was like chicken inasal in a nutshell, very well presented. Looking at each dish, I was so amazed, really, because you can really see, in a nutshell, like the whole diversity that the Philippines has to offer. Since also it's an island country, so that's why it's also very different everywhere, right? So yeah, thank you so much for recommending this restaurant to me, Erwan.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here as well. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video as well. Visit HAPAG Manila, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!